Hello BGM3, good afternoon. How are you today? Hope you're having a lovely day. Have you been improving? The videos so far, have they been helpful to you? And the charts and everything, I really need to know. Kindly send a comment when you watch this video. Tell me how this has been of great help to you, and I'd love to know. God bless you. So, well, I'm here to present you with the fourth video on this series, volume 3, and I'm going to be talking about percussive bass playing today and ghost notes. Yes, most times we hear some bass lines and we are like, wow, awesome, this is off the hook, this is amazing, just like the one I played previously and I shared with you. And you know, sometimes you get to wonder how come a bass line could sound this percussive, that even when you don't have a drums or the drums playing alongside, it still gives that pulse. And today I'll be introducing you to the reason why, and I'll be showing you how you can achieve percussiveness and ghost notes. Well, I'll start with ghost notes. Ghost notes are basically those notes that are ghosts. Let me put it that way. You don't see them, but they are actually there. So for you to see them, you have to be conscious of them. I'm sure you've watched quite a number of movies where you hear of ghosts, and most times you don't see ghosts. But when you're actually very conscious of those ghosts, you then see them. So sometimes you could hear a groove of this is basically your bass line for your Highlife progression or your Highlife song. Ba 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 mi loke ba ba. Now this sounds kind of jelenke, you know. There are several ways to approach this bass line. Several ways to approach this. Sounding awesome and great, it keeps the flow. But now within this bass line I played, within the notes, somewhere in between those notes, there are several pulses. And those pulses are actually indicators of where you can have ghost notes. Now, for example, hear this. Now, from Do to La, it sounds like, okay, that's the sweetest thing you could play. But for example, if I don't have my percussionist, I don't have my drummer playing with me, and I'm required to start the groove, I would actually love to be more engaging than just playing single notes. And also that could even help the keyboard or the piano player also stay on the pulse, because I tell you the truth, a bass player without pulse or without an understanding of pulse is just wasting his or her time. Let me be sincere with you. So the pulse gives you an indication that you can add some ghost notes, but as much as possible to try to be economical. Your musicianship should teach you when to apply your ghost notes and when not to apply them. Because I feel if I have a percussionist playing alongside with me, especially a percussionist or a percussion instrument that has almost the same frequency with my percussiveness or my muted notes, which I'll still be explaining, then there's really no need for me to get too busy with being percussive. That's what I feel. Because sometimes the frequencies can clash. or sometimes the frequencies can overshadow each other, of which eventually you might not even be able to differentiate between the two. So most importantly, be economical, be very, very careful. I'd rather apply a bass line like this when I'm playing with just a drummer. Maybe I don't have a percussion instrument around me, or playing alongside me on the band. So basically, how to create your ghost notes is where I'll start from. So I've told you why you could be percussive. Now I'm going to tell you how to be percussive. Now, when you want to be percussive, someone asked this question on the last video, or after the last video. He asked, is muting the same thing as ghost notes? And I think I gave an explanation which I believe would have settled that. But still, to buttress on that, your muting technique is what you do. You place here and you play. You can still hear the tone, the sound of the notes. Do, sol, la, mi, re, la, sol. That's my muting technique. I most times apply this when I'm playing slow songs. You know, it keeps that heavy, punchy depth with the bass drum. But your muted notes, in terms of toneless notes, those notes don't have any tone. It's actually different. For example, if I want to play ghost notes, which I could also call toneless notes, ghost notes, toneless notes, this is what I'll do. Instead of just placing one finger, sorry, let me start from this. I place my fingers on the strings, but I don't press them down. I don't apply too much pressure. I just place them. And when I place them, this is what I get. Sorry, this is what I get. You can hear those notes are toneless. Just like having your percussion notes or percussion instruments playing. Toneless. I try as much as possible to put all my fingers, because if I put only one, I achieve harmonics, and it's not harmonics I actually want to achieve. Now, I want to achieve toneless notes. So I place all my fingers on my left hand, just above the fretboard or above the string I'm about to create a toneless note on. So now, going back to the bass line, I want you to understand that percussive notes or ghost notes can be used in virtually every genre of music. It only depends on how you economically apply them to the genre of music, or to the genre, if some people will say, the genre of music you're about to play. So for now, I'll go back to my basic Highlife groove, moving from my 1 to my 6 to my 2 to my 5 and back to my 1. Now I'm assuming I'm playing the 4 strings bass guitar, so I probably won't be playing my thickest string. I might touch it once in a while, but basically for you to understand this, I'll just try to restrict myself to the 4 strings. That's the 4 strings I have in between. Now, our bass line starts from our 1. Now, the first step I'll be showing you is how to create a lower frequency percussive note, or a low frequency percussive note, or a lower frequency in terms of what we're going to be doing. Because we'll be doing the higher frequency, we're doing the lower frequency percussive note, which also gives me almost the same frequency as a bass drum, or a floor tom, or an udu, or something that contains a percussive instrument that has lower frequencies. So now, my first note I go, this is what I do. Very, very easy. I strike my note first. That's the first step. So that's my first note. So that's the first. Now, the second point before I go to sol, la, so I go. Now, I'm playing on the very last string if I'm considering just the 4-string bass guitar. So I'm taking the last string, the thinnest string out, and I'm assuming my second string from the bottom is my last string, or my highest pitched string. So what I do is after I strike, then I create my muted pattern. So my note comes here, my toned note, then lower frequency, then if you can watch my right hand, I strike once. Then so is this. Sorry. Now let me play it as slow as I can. That's my first step. That's why I'm continuing to. So I showed you the first one. So the second line, as much as possible, I will break it into pieces so you would understand clearly how I am playing this. And you also understand the concept behind building other bass lines that will contain some ghost notes or percussive notes. And I'll repeat the same thing on my next note. My next note is Re, but I'm passing from Mi to Re. So sorry. So the second one now, moving from Mi, Re, I'm not repeating. So I'm not repeating the same thing, I'm going further here. So I'm playing string 1, assuming I'm playing the 4 strings alone, no? The 4 strings in between, string 1, 2, 3, muted, before playing my next note, which is Mi, Re. Don't forget, Mi is just the passing note. Re is where we are landing. So low frequency, 1, 2, 3. 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 So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So each string I strike just once, but muted. Don't forget, your left hand should cover the strings, but not apply pressure on them. So let me play the first segment again. Sorry. Now, I've covered those two. Now, the next one is moving to Saw. That's our 5th. So, the same thing I played on Mi, Re, I'm playing it on La, Saw. So, one, two, three, La, Saw. Lower frequency, muted, strike each string once from the lower one, 1, 2, 3, then I hit my note. The same thing on So, Do, So, Do, So, Do. So don't forget, I'm hitting to get my lower frequency, then percussive ghost notes to get my higher frequency to the lower, then to my notes. So hope that is really, really explanatory. I hope it's very, very clear for you. I'll play it slowly again. Don't forget, there's this hit. That's the first aspect. Then the second aspect, hitting two, you still maintain your fingers on the fretboard, but not applying too much pressure, just at the surface. So it really doesn't create any notes. Also, when you're applying your percussive notes, so there are actually more pulses in the song that you can actually bring out in this groove or on this groove. But, you know, like I said, try and be as economical as possible. The idea is not to show that you can be percussive. You understand? The idea is not to show that you can be percussive. The idea is to create a soft landing for the band. So if you have a percussive instrument already, really you might need to cut down on how percussive you should be as a bassist, or how percussive you'd want to play on that band at that particular time. So as much as possible, try to regulate your percussiveness with respect to the instruments that are available. Don't get too busy. Don't get too busy. Well, like I said, when I just have the drummer playing, I can go percussive there to create, you know, to create some percussiveness for the entire band. But most importantly, understand that what I've shown you today, you create your low frequency, mute here. Then if you want to pick your percussive notes, I always try to pick from the thinnest string, or your ghost notes. I try to pick from the thinnest string and I pick it up. I try to pick from the thinnest string. You understand? When I'm picking, I'm repeating this over and over again because I want you to get it. I really desire you to get it. I really desire you to get it. So God bless you. Have a lovely day. Now, I would want you to do something. I want you to do some assignments. Try and create your own groove also. Create your own groove. It could be on Highlife. It could be on your funk groove. But try to identify the pulses within the music. Dun, dun, dun. Try to identify their pulses where you could actually use your percussive notes or your ghost notes, and also your low frequency bump. I call it a low frequency bump. Bump. You bump into it. Your low frequency bump. God bless you.